Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today's art journey is going to be a deep dive into the realm of One Pale Reflection yet again. I'm excited to bring to life none other than Alviss, and let's get into it. Before I get started on today's video, if you're interested in learning more about One Pale Reflection, the book, you can find it on Amazon. I'm looking to try and get at least 10 reviewers on the book. It's my newest title, and it was a #1 new release on Amazon for effectively a month straight. So if you like young adult, if you like fantasy, and if you like isekai anime, this is the one for you. You can pick up an ebook copy for as little as $6, or for free if you are a member of the Kindle Unlimited program. If you want to know when the book is going to go on sale next, be sure to sign up for my newsletter, and all of that information is on the front page of my website. With all of that out of the way, let's get to it. I've already got my line art done for this particular piece, and have refined it down to exactly how I want it to look. The sketch of this piece was particularly difficult because I wanted to use contact juggling as a reference for the pose, and finding the perfect arms and hands and everything was really difficult, but I think I nailed it. With this particular illustration, I really wanted to showcase Alviss's personality and, most importantly, his role in One Pale Reflection. Alviss is definitely a good guy in a bad spot, and I can't even imagine what it's like being the brother of the big bad villain of any fantasy book. Alviss has been kind of dragged along for the ride, and he doesn't really want to be there, but he feels like he has a duty to his brother. While he looks to be in his 20s or potentially 30s, his age is kind of a mystery, because as Athos, his brother, unlocked the secrets to immortality, the effects seemed to impact Alviss as well. Alviss still ages, but he ages very slowly. He's definitely a lot less imposing than his brother Athos, with a subtle intensity lurking still within him. His eyes are often described as contemplative, and they reflect both a weary wisdom and this trapped yearning in them. It's really easy to read Alviss through his eyes, and he definitely does not want to be where he is. I love Alviss to death because he is kind of the secondary antagonist turned ally, potentially, throughout the story, and that's always really interesting to work with. I wouldn't really consider him an anti-hero or someone who has trouble with morality, because he knows what is good and he knows what is right. He's effectively being held against his will. Born into the tumultuous world of magic, Alviss has always been overshadowed by his brother Athos's towering ambitions and immense power. While Athos was a prodigy in harnessing dark magic and fire elemental magic, Alviss seemed to be devoid of innate magical prowess. This apparent lack of magical inclination led Alviss to be both protected and manipulated by Athos. Despite his non-magical nature, Alviss was blessed with a unique gift, the ability to walk within dreams. This latent talent made him invaluable to Athos, especially when combined with the enchanted artifacts that allowed Alviss to tap into Athos's dark magic. The magic spherical crystals Alviss wields have the power to not only display, but also ensnare people within their dreams. This ability, under Athos's direction, became a tool to trap unsuspecting souls, compelling them to serve within the cold walls of Athos's castle. At heart, Alviss is introspective, and struggles with the moral implications of his actions, especially given his deep empathy for those he ensnares. He yearns for freedom from Athos's web, and seeks to understand the true nature and potential of his unique ability. His encounters with Brenden in the dream realm evolve from mere observations to deeper connections, and Alviss starts questioning his allegiance with the role he plays in Athos's grand scheme. Alviss's biggest strength is his empathy. He has a deep capacity to understand and feel the emotions of those he encounters, and I think that that's kind of why he ends up being such a sucker for Brenden, because he remembers what it was like to be a little kid with no parents, and he feels incredibly bad that effectively Athos was responsible for destroying this kid's life. On the other hand, his biggest weakness is his own self-doubt. Years of living in Athos's shadow has instilled a sense of inadequacy in Alviss, and on top of that, his bond with his brother often blinds him to the broader consequences of their actions. His relationship with Athos is really complicated. There's a mix of admiration, envy, loyalty, and underlying resentment there. On the other hand, With Brenden, what starts as an observed dynamic between the dreamwalker and the dreamer soon evolves into a mutual understanding and even a camaraderie, which makes his relationship with Athos incredibly complicated. While Alviss's initial goal is to serve his brother and find his place within the world of magic, he eventually strives to seek his own path, one where he can wield his powers without being a pawn in someone else's game. If I had to sum up Alviss in one quote, it would probably be, "In dreams we find our true selves, in reality we struggle to become them." Alviss was such an important character for me to paint because I have done several drawings of him in the past, especially when I was in high school and I had just started working on this book before it was actually good and before my art was actually good. And so getting to come back to Alviss and to redraw him in a way that actually realized the vision that I've had in my head for over a decade was really satisfying. Skin shading can be a really meticulous process. The play of light and shadow is essential to create depth and mood, especially to highlight Alviss's inner turmoil and contemplation. I really wanted this piece to feel super dreamy because he does spend a lot of his time in dreams and manipulating those dreams. The focus ultimately in this piece will be Alviss's crystals, and I wanted to create a backdrop and a lighting scenario that really highlighted how glimmery and fun they are. When I was working on the background, I wanted to make sure it was kind of dark and moody so that even while Alviss is effectively enshrouded in this very purpley kind of mysterious shadow, the crystals are just really gonna pop. It's kind of at this point in the piece where I really start to see the vision coming together and the colors start to play off of each other and the lighting starts to really push through. I kind of have to keep going back to the lighting and reminding myself of what my original intent was so that way I don't just get lost in the shading. I was definitely very inspired by Loish for the hair lighting. I know she does a lot of like underglow, backlit, magic hair, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta do that for this piece. So shout out to Loish for being just an absolutely phenomenal artist and human being. As we get closer to the end of this video, things start to slowly wrap up, and I now have a good foundation of what at least the backlighting is gonna look like. This is without any special effects or anything, but at least the foundation is there. Again, if you're interested in reading more about Alviss, he is a predominant secondary antagonist in my book, One Pale Reflection. All of the information about that book can be found in the description below or on my website, and I really hope you enjoy it. I hope that if you read it, it brings you a little bit of sense of nostalgia, because I know for me, it was really fun to write, and I poured a lot of my childhood self into it. Thank you for joining me today. In our next session, we will be adding the final embellishments that truly bring Alviss to life. If you're as captivated by this character as I am, do like, share, and hit that subscribe button. Dive deeper into the lore and immerse yourself in the shades of One Pale Reflection. Until next time, let art inspire and stories captivate.